Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
Thank you.
It's so, I know we've been wanting to have you on the show forever, so
Yes.
I'm so glad that it worked out. And I knew Daniel way back when.
Yes.
So my son was friends with Daniel, and they went to school together and stuff like that. So, I mean, I remember, Daniel, when you were on the basketball rec league in middle school or something like that.
How
that
funny.
was a long time ago.
I actually remember you were the only person aside from my dad who I had seen play guitar in second grade. It was like literally, I think my first day of second grade in having moved to Tennessee, and you came in and played some Christmas songs for our class on acoustic guitar. And I remember like you had a metronome tuner, and it had the A440 pitch, and you showed us how to tune a guitar. And I was just bewildered by what a guitar was, and one of my earliest memories of a guitar player.
Really?
Yeah.
And then, so when did you start taking lessons? I know you were taking lessons from Johnny Hyland for a while.
Yeah, I was.
And when did you start that?
I started working with Johnny when I was 15 years old. A friend of a friend gave me his number, I think his wife's number, Kimmy.
Kimmy, yep.
And we called what I thought was Johnny's number, but it was Kimmy. And she put us on the phone with Johnny. And I told him I was his biggest fan, and that I knew all of his videos. And I already knew a bunch of his solos, and I asked if I could come over to his house and if he could show me if I was doing them right.
Good.
Yes.
Now, up until that point, you had not really had any formal training. You were just learning from YouTube.
Yes, precisely.
Yeah.
In which I still do.
So you had no instructors before Johnny Hyland.
I had one person over in Brentwood, Skylar Schultz, who owns the music studio lesson place right down there. And I went to him for a number of lessons right when I started learning like rock and roll guitar and like how to play Led Zeppelin riffs correctly and things like that. But there was definitely a strong period of just isolation and just figuring things out on my own for a number of years.
Yeah.
And that's really when I started practicing absurd amounts of hours a day.
Now, I know I was looking at a video just the other day of you. It was, I guess, at CMA Fest.
Oh, yeah.
And you were, I don't know, look 12-ish, 11-ish, something like that, playing probably that guitar.
Close, yeah.
Because I remember the color. But it looked like, was it a smaller instrument?
It was a standard Fender-sized Tele, but my dad and I made it because I couldn't afford one at the time. And so we put it together from all parts guitars, $400 guitar at most, and then we put Joe Barden pickups in it, because of the Danny Gatton thing. And I still have that instrument. But then when that one came into the picture, which I don't know, it's not on camera, we'll get it on here in a second, that is indeed my dream guitar. This is the one I'll have for the long haul.
That's right. Now so when you got started you did the CMA Fest thing, and then how did the jump get to the Don Kelly band, which is kind of where everything started to really take off?
Yeah, I was 14. It was the day after 8th grade ended, and my dad brought me downtown, and we went and saw a band play down on Broadway. And it was at a place called Legends Corner. Yeah. And I walked in, and the bass player, Randy Hall, said on the mic, "You look like you play guitar." And I said, "Of course I do."
So he didn't know.
He didn't know me. I was just this young kid in there, And he goes, "Come up and play a song." And I plugged in, and there was a Telecaster, and I never played one before. And I never played And I never played through a real amp before that wasn't like a battery-powered, small amp. And there was something about that sensation that just twisted my life around, and it's riding off that wind still today. The very next day, we went and saw Don's band by accident, and that changed my life that day forever, because I'd never seen a guitar player, J.D. Simo.
Yeah, J.D., yeah. He's been on the show. It was one phenomenal player.
Oh, I've watched it several times. I think he's been on twice, right?
He's been on. We've put several different videos out of that one show, but yeah.
Yes, I've watched that several times. Seeing him changed everything for me, and I decided it was within those 2 days that I needed to dedicate this chapter of my life to guitar, and that was right before high school started. And by the time I graduated high school, I had gotten the gig with Don's band. I went every weekend and gave him my card and said I knew.
So you were actively seeking and meeting him and trying to get a place in that band. which so many legends have come from.
Yes.
Guthrie Trapp's come out of that band. J.D. Simo, Johnny Hyland's come out of that band.
Brent Mason.
Brent Mason came out of that band.
Yes, indeed.
The list of players that have come out of that band is legendary.
It really is. It's funny because it's kind of the value might not translate over to the people who don't understand, but Nashville is such a community-based town, and the players who haven't played in that band, everyone still knows about that band.
Yeah.
And so when you play in the band, it's just an incredible amount of exposure
Yeah.
and an opportunity to say who you are musically.
Yeah.
I'm forever grateful for having that.
And it's work. It's a lot of hard work, a lot of hours, a lot of late night hours.
Oh my gosh.
How many nights a week were you playing down there?
4 nights a week, sometimes 5, 4 hours a night. So from down in Franklin, I would finish school, and I would drive home, I would put on my Western shirt with my rhinestones, and then my mom would have food made for me in like a Tupperware container, and I'd drive up down to Nashville. Drive up down. That's not a up down is a country song. I don't think it's in the top 20 anymore, but it was earlier this year. Everyone go check it out. I didn't write it. I drove up to Nashville, and I would do my homework in between songs on stage, and we would just play 4 hours, no breaks, and did 464 shows
Oh, wow.
down at Robert.
Absolutely amazing.
Yes.
Wow. That in itself is just the...
Oh, I use jazz picks too.
The ultimate learning.
I think so.
Ultimate university for country guitar playing.
Indeed.
Yeah.
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 And most importantly, kind of how to finagle things to make your own voice come out of the guitar too, which was always Don's ethos.
Yeah. Yeah. After that, you got involved with the Wild Feathers, is that right?
I did. Oh, when I finished that gig, I had a very dry period of work, and it was right when I rented my first house. And I was making no money. I think I made $70 in 1 month, 1 month that winter. And my friend Sadler Vaden, who plays for Jason Isabel, met me at a pizza place one day, and I kind of just broke down and told him I don't really know what to do, and this has never happened to me before, and how do I get a gig? And he relayed me over to Joel, who's in the Wild Feathers still. He's one of the founding 3 members. I was already a fan of them in high school, and this was 2015, so it had been like 2 years since high school ended. We met that night, and the next day Joel called me and asked if I'd want to audition, and I learned the parts like a madman, and I got the gig for that whole tour they did, which was like about like 60 some odd shows, and that was honestly my first experience.
Pretty big shows. Yeah, those were
Big shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, and first experience touring with legitimate business. You know, not just gigs where you get paid in cash before and you're in a van and something. This was a legitimate tour, and expectations are different. So it taught me how to be a professional musician outside of a bar, which dynamically is very much different.
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, let's get to some of the gear that you're playing through today. I'm not going to ask you about that guitar because we literally just picked that guitar up off the wall. Julio, one of the wonderful workmen here, chose this amazing guitar. It's a wonderful new Les Paul. But you play all kinds of different things. Tell us about your main guy back there.
Yeah.
In fact, let me hold that one.
Oh,
and
okay.
You can show us that Telecaster.
Oh, yeah, man. So this guitar I got right when I first started driving. So I was like 16, and this was right before I started subbing in Don's band. Or, actually probably was right after. It was right after. And people were starting to like wonder who Daniel Donato was in Nashville, which I'm still trying to figure out who that is. And one way or another, someone at Fender got in touch with me and asked if I'd be interested in playing a Telecaster, like a legitimate one, because I had one that I'd put together. And I said, of course. And they were like, why don't you go to Guitar Center and pick out some custom shop guitars, and like you kind of put together what you like about them, and we'll make you one. And I went and saw this one. It was right as they were closing. And I went and saw it, and it just caught my eye. And I went and picked it up, and it had one of those ashtray pick guards on it. And I took that off, and I plugged it in, and it was that same feeling of when I plugged into an amp the first time. It was just a very a deep resonance of conviction that this is the right move.
Yeah.
just as simple as that. And they gave me the guitar. And so it's been basically like my set of vocal cords ever since then. And it was brand new when I got it.
Yeah, you have put some mileage on that guitar since then.
Yes, no powertrain warranty. And don't check the Carfax on this guitar.
There you go. There you go. Tell us, kind of run us through what you have on your board.
Yeah.
There a little bit, too. Or if you want to demonstrate me.
Sure. Yeah. I'll put this right here. Let's see. This is a good move. I love that. Yeah, this board's a little different. This is kind of a makeshift board that I threw together for a recording session that I had earlier, which honestly is most of my boards. I have like hundreds of guitar pedals, and I'm kind of always putting new boards together. A friend of mine named Zane Carney, who you would absolutely love, he's cut from the very same cloth of harmonic exploration as you are in that chordal sense, things like that. He puts new boards together almost weekly. And I love that concept, so I've kind of been doing that for a couple months. But what we have here is, first and foremost, an Analysis Plus cable. I believe this is the John Mayer cable, but I didn't get it for that reason. I got it because it was pink, and I found out that it was his, and he's one of my heroes, so I'm real happy about this cable. I've had it for years, and just the highest quality one I've ever worked with. We're going into a Polytune 3, which is a TC Electronic product. Also, matching with the Tolex on this Creation Music Company board is a TC Electronic pipeline tap trem.
Show us what that does.
Yeah, so that is set to the most sonically stock version of what a tremolo is. But what's really advantageous about this specific effect is that you can also do the square wave. Now, I have several others at home that allow you to do the cosine and the triangle wave and things like that. But the square is, pretty much the farthest you're going to go. And you can do note subdivisions based on the tremolo, which is great. I'd recommend anybody who's getting a tremolo to at least get something that offers a square and a vintage. Just because where guitar is now, there's so many tones that are reverberated with long delay that are square tones with tremolo. Not at that speed. You did like a. Things like that. I love that.
Cool.
Then we're going into a D&M drive, and these two pedals are from Keeley Effects, which are personally, I think, the most consistent effects on the market that I've ever used. I've been using them for years.
So the D&M drive, that's a distortion, an overdrive. Sort of.
Distortion,
Yeah,
an overdrive.
Two sides to it?
Yeah. The thing about this drive is that it gets into distortion realms. It could sit at the table with distortion, but it also, I would classify it sonically as a drive. What we have here is we have the boost, and then we have our drive. And what's advantageous about this specific effect is that you can decide whether if you want to set the boost or the drive in a specific order. I like to set it in this fashion where the boost comes first. This being the boost. Boost is off. Pretty nice. And then a straight up drive. Which is great.
Very good. And then you have the caverns, which is a reverb and a delay.
It's a reverb and a delay, yes. For anyone who's out there, reverb for me is a real rabbit hole. I don't know about you, but I love the thing about reverb is that it oftentimes will define an era sonically of music.
Yeah.
You know, if we go to the 80s, we have those shotgun snares, like the Def Leppard Mutt Lang thing. And it's like, the thing about where reverb is now digitally is that you can access all of these chapters just by a switch. So on my main board, I have about 3 or 4 reverbs that I'm diving through. But on the smaller board, I find that the caverns, for the people who don't have as big of a budget, and you want to be able to explore with different kinds of reverbs and a delay, a first aid kit for ambient tones, this really is the most phenomenal product you can get your hands on. And trust me, I've explored all of them. This really is it. What's cool about it, I'll start with the delay side, which is on our right side. What's cool about this delay is that it has a good modulation sound, which is really great if you're a guitar player who's trying to do parts and not really shred, and you're trying to make something that takes the Mike Campbell approach to a guitar, but bring it to a more modern sense. So I'll set it to what I'm talking about. So we'll do that, and then we'll do more repeats. And then we'll do a heavier blend. So what we have here is we have our rate for modulation. It's that simple. I'll put it on deep so you can hear it. Honestly, really cool. So like, we'll do something like, nope, it's too fast. Let's see here. Yeah. Things like that.
Cool.
With reverb, you can do the shimmer sound, and you can also do a modulated sound, or you can do your stock spring sound. I'll start with that here. Spring reverb being the most common type of reverb, which was found in Fender amps, as you know. We've heard that. Right? But what's really cool, this is where we can start getting really cool with it. So, you know what I mean? So that's kind of an exaggerated decay as to show the affect, but if we put it into a musical threshold, cool.
Very cool.
A musical exploration that is a phenomenal piece to dive into is the song off Continuum, which is In Repair. John has a POG setting, which he adds to a delay tone, which emulates the sound of what would be a shimmer. So if anyone's not familiar sonically with what a shimmer sound can do, go check that out, and then you can apply it to your own tone.
Yeah.
And then what we have here is the Phase 95, which is the coolest thing ever. The classic Waylon Jennings thing. The most percussive, coolest country sound ever.
Very cool. Now, let's talk about a little bit about your technique, even just what you were doing there with the hybrid picking stuff. Kind of demonstrate that a little bit. Maybe we can get a good shot from this angle of what you're doing there with your. Do you have nails? You do not use nails, or you just completely abuse them so much they're gone.
Yeah, I always have nails. I was flying home yesterday from Albuquerque, and I use acrylic nails, and I jammed my guitar into my overhead and broke my nails off. So I don't have them for today, and I always do, though. I've been going to the same place.
On, which ones do you put them on?
On these two appendages right here, so the middle and the ring is where they go. And the big thing for me is I started using a Jazz 3-pick very early on due to the Eric Johnson Pandemonium. I love that. My whole thing is if you're going to get nails, it should be no longer than the Jazz 3. When I say it, I mean the tip of the acrylic that is painted onto the nail bed. And you want it to be really no thicker. So really what you're trying to do is just emulate it.
The pick. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So what you have is you have 3 picks, you know. Basically what I do is I come at it from the discipline of what Brett Mason does. His technique can be most explained well and most efficiently through this exercise. I call this the quasi-chromatic exercise. All we're doing here is we're just going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up. Until we arrive
down,
here.
down, up on your straight pick. Okay.
Yes, indeed. We'll ascend 1 fret and do the down, up, down, up. How this applies to a hybrid approach is what we'll do is the pick only has the ability to go down. And so when you do an upstroke, you're taking the middle finger and alternating that with the ring finger, such as this. So once more, we went pick, middle, pick, ring, pick, middle, pick, ring. This is a very disciplined and very stoic way of playing the guitar. The asset that comes with it sonically is the fact that you achieve the ultimate staccato sound, which to people who love the sound of country guitar, subliminally, subconsciously, that's a huge part of it that is different than many other styles.
Yeah. Play a little bit with that technique and just kind of play a few.
So the way I ended up living with it is I kind of live in this honey spot of where it's not as consistent as Brent's. My own personal style is to apply the discipline when in a practice sense, and then the muscles that are strengthened through that discipline, let those reign free when it comes to improvisational purpose. And kind of what you end up having is more of a DIY approach of that, where it's not as consistent, but you do achieve the staccato sound. Things like that. A thing, honestly, that would be really helpful to all your students and anyone who's watching would be to just take the first riff that you play on the guitar. That, to me, is one of the most important things that isn't very often talked about. I always think of what is the first thing I play when I pick up a guitar. So take that first thing that comes out of your consciousness, and whatever that is, that usually is going to be coming from your most comfortable place. So that means that your technique is most comfortable with this, and the phrase itself is most comfortable with it. You're not questioning it in any way. Apply this technique to it. So what we're doing here is we're applying something new and something that'll make you more efficient as a player to something that you already know that's familiar. Something very simple. That being in the key of C major. Very simple. Apply that technique to it. Once more slower. And just sit with that for 20 minutes a day. Consistently, and you'll get better.
Wonderful. Okay, we've already have several people asking questions. Heavy 1192 is saying, Daniel, what gauge strings do you use? I don't know what's on that instrument because we just put it off the wall, but what do you normally use?
I use Ernie Ball Cobalt strings. Those are my favorite guitar strings.
What are the sizes? What are the gauges?
10 to 46.
10 to 46.
So we're kind of heavier in the top and we're lower in the bottom. Whichever way you look at the guitar. Yeah.
Very cool.
That to me is the ultimate twang on a Telecaster. That sound with that gauge.
Lee Candiotti is saying, have you ever worked with Albert Lee?
I haven't studied with him. I've played on stage with him once very awkwardly at NAMM. We were told there was going to be a band, and there was no band. There was only backing tracks. And there was no monitor. So it was all just coming out of the house. So for anyone who's played professionally as a musician or unprofessionally like I did at NAMM, you usually have a monitor, which is something that's coming back at you. It's telling you what you said musically. It's the sound coming back at you. If you have none of that, there will be a latency in what you're hearing. So if you don't have the strength of a rhythm section to back you up, and you're nervous because you've been learning Albert Lee's licks for 8 years on YouTube, you're going to get off time. You're going to get off tempo. And that's what I did, but so did he. So it was just fine.
So it worked out just fine. All right, well, let's take a break here. We'll get back to some more exercises and stuff in a moment. But I wanted to, let's give away something. I wanted to give away, we have got a Grunz thermos.
Ooh, I want one.
A really cool Grun thermos. So the winner of this is Rick Wine. Rick, send me your information at service@mightyoakmusic.com, and we can get you fixed up with this great little water bottle for you. So very cool. Wanted to let you know about a couple of things. Daniel's got his website, danieldonato.com, and you can go on there and see where he's going and all kinds of videos and fun stuff there. You do have several dates just in the next. You're busy, so
Next week, yeah.
Yeah, I've got you in on the 11th. You're in Toledo. The 12th, the next day, you're in Kentucky, Newport, Kentucky.
Newport.
And the next day after that, you're in Bowling Green,
Yeah,
Kentucky.
that's opening for Doyle Bramhall II.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you're familiar with him.
The name's familiar.
He is. He played with Clapton for years. His dad was a famous Austin musician, and he is absolutely incredible. So anyone who loves guitar must come out to that show.
And these are just your group.
Yeah, this is Daniel Donato. This is the thing.
What's the instrumentation for that?
Presently, it is a drum set. It is acoustic guitar with harmony vocals. It's myself, mostly on electric the whole night, with lead vocals, and then a keyboard player who provides synth sounds and bass simultaneously.
Okay.
And it is masterfully done. And it is extremely creative. I also light incense on stage. I don't know if that applies to the instrumentation in any way, for what it's worth. You guys get vibes.
That's the
free of
cosmic
charge.
in the cosmic country.
It is. That's all it is.
That's one of the things I really love about what you're bringing to the guitar, the country guitar world, is you're kind of taking hybrid picking, and you're taking some of these sounds and these tones and the approach, but you're taking them into different areas musically.
Thank
I think
you.
it's so creative. It needed to happen.
Thank you.
And I'm so glad that you are doing that. So keep it up.
Thank you. That
More
means
of that
the
needs
world.
to happen. Yeah.
Thank you so much. More of it is happening. All at DanielDonato.com.
Yeah.
Go on there.
Tons of YouTube videos as well. So definitely check out some of the great things that Daniel is doing. Let's see. Many of you were asking last week. We did a show on capos, all about capos and learning about capos and all that sort of stuff. We did have the chart that I was mentioning last week. So please, you can go to guitargathering.com and check out the live lesson for that week, and the chart is there. Or you can just email me at service@mightyoakmusic.com, and I'll be happy to send you one out. There's no charge for all that, and it's just a great little chart of just what I use when I'm in the studio of if I need to be in this key, well, here are the options that I would do. So we do have a new Fretboard Workout course that I did on the best sounding chords on guitar, the money chords, and so check that out as well. We've had a lot of good feedback starting to come from those lessons as well. It is October now, so we're excited about our fall fingerstyle retreat that is coming up. I've got one spot left for a lady, so it's for the ladies' lodging room. So if you are one of the wonderful gals out there in our guitar world and want to come to this amazing, amazing event, we've got new people that have artists that have come along. Megan Taylor Anderson, who is Chet Atkins' niece, I believe, and phenomenal thumb-picking Merle Travis, Chet Atkins sort of stuff. And she's going to be there actually with Caitlin Freeboy, who is there as well for Merle Travis and Chet Atkins stuff. So they're going to be doing some stuff. We just booked them. We've got Trevor Gordon Hall, wonderful acoustic fingerstyle guitar player. Acoustic Guitar Magazine ranked him one of the best 30 under 30 for fingerstyle. He's going to be there. And then closing out will be Phil Kagi. So we cannot jam any more people into that event. And so it's going to be hilarious fun. But anyway, that's coming at the end of the month. And if you're a lady and are interested, please sign up. If not, you can get on our waiting list, guys. And if someone drops out, then you would be there. Our big summer conference that we have coming up in in the summer is, for this coming summer, is June 12th, Wednesday, June 12th through Saturday, June 15th. And it should be a great time. Always is a great time. Last year we had Joe Robinson and Christy Lene and Will McFarlane and Phil Kagi and so many great players. So if you're available, we might even hit you up to be a part of the summer conference.
I'm available.
So it's always great fun. And Johnny Highland was part of last year too. So
Oh, wow.
Anyway, it's going to be great. All right, we've got a couple of questions coming in, but enough of me yabbering on. Let's play one more thing. Why don't you just play a little bit for us?
Yeah.
Noodle around on something, or
Sure.
do whatever you want.
Yeah. Ooh, go turn that down. Let's see here. Cool. Yeah, let's do something like, a little something.
Gorgeous. Let's. Gosh, I want to get to. Well, let's do the double stop stuff. You had, I think I'd seen in one of the videos that you had done a kind of a double stop exercise. What are some of the best exercises that you've found for doing double stops and things like that?
Totally. The thing with double stops is that first and foremost, they're physically interesting to play, and then also to actually know them on the instrument is a little bit different, because what you're doing is you're essentially taking your pentatonic scale or any note, but that's the best place to start, and you're just adding your major third on top of it. So the first thing that I was ever shown that really helped me with it, aside from just learning a lick and memorizing it, was this. So we're in the key of A. That's your most basic representation of what you're doing.
Okay.
All we're doing there is we're just playing the major scale, but we're flattening the 7, which makes it the Mixolydian. So kind of look at this as a scale. You would use it as a scale. A thing that you can do to make it country is add this A in it as a percussive, I don't want to say, I guess, asset. Because it's more than a sound, because it really makes the lick. You know what I mean? So, worth analyzing here is that we're doing everything via the fingers. Another thing you can do is you could add what is known as chromaticism into this mix here. Chromaticism, I've heard many people give it different meanings. I would think the most easy way to understand the concept would to just simply define it as notes that are in between the cracks. Yeah. And then if you have the desire to understand what that actually means in a harmonic sense, there's much information out there. But in terms of using them musically, that definition will suffice. So in this money spot, we have that. And then we have another money spot, which leads us back to our root. Mess with that. That's on the G and B strings. Also mess with ascending with it. And then the best way to actually start to conquer the instrument and to adapt the muscle of visualization, being able to just see all your notes in all of your lanes that you can travel through musically without having to play them. The best way to achieve that is to take what is already known to you, assuming you practice this and get it under your belt, and you start to apply it to lower sets of strings.
Yeah.
So... And that is what I did every day before and after high school for 4 years.
And then take that concept and expand it a little bit and show us, like in a solo situation, what could you do?
Absolutely. So I'll do it directly from the example I was showing y'all. So double stops are dynamic things that you like to use. You can do a whole solo around them, but they're really best served as fireworks. You know what I mean? So... Yeah.
Beautiful.
I got a little advanced there by applying triads into the mix.
Yeah.
But triads simply, once you master double stops, are simply just the other voicing, which would be the fifth on top of what is your third. So you're just simply just playing chords there at that point, kind of like a piano player would.
Wonderful. And those voicings are so important. You know, being able to jump through all of that stuff quickly.
Indeed.
Is the trick. And so just working out your majors and your minors all the way up. And,
Indeed.
In different keys, and being able to figure out a little lick around this shape, a little lick around that shape.
Yes.
Next thing you know, you're tying these things together, and you've got a little bit more to say musically.
Yes.
More options.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. Let's get some questions. Dino Crafton is saying, what is your go-to amp?
Well, it's kind of always a changing thing. Right now, it's been a Fender Vibrolux 1968 reissue. With where I'm at in my career right now, I need an amp that works every night because I don't have anyone to fix it. I would use older amps if I could because I love older amps, newer guitars through older amps. But right now, it's just a brand new Fender Vibrolux. Incredible.
Wonderful. Larry Six String is saying, Daniel, here's some Ray Flack influence. He's the father, yes.
Yeah.
Have you had any connection to Ray Flack?
Connection. Well, yeah. My connection to Ray is being inspired by the music he played on Ricky Skaggs' records.
Yeah.
Most famously, Highways and Heartaches. Might be Heartbreaks. Don't quote me, Ricky. Or someone. There's great solos on songs like Heartbroke and songs like Highway 40 Blues. You're just starting to hear some of the most incredible era of Telecaster playing by one of the most unique players. Also, Johnny Highland, who was one of my main influences when I was learning how to develop my voice on the instrument, which I'm still learning. Ray Flack was one of his biggest heroes.
Yeah.
So those are my connections to Ray.
Yeah, beautiful. John is asking, is the Telecaster kind of your main guitar that you... I know that's probably the most I've seen you with is the Telecaster.
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine with saying, like, with what main guitar means to me is what it is different than what it means to someone who's a fan of me. So in that reason, yeah, like the Telecaster is my main guitar. And I also have a book out that's called Master of the Telecaster.
Yeah.
So I'm going to own it by saying it is my main guitar, yeah.
That's right, and you did that shortly after high school, because I remember you were asking me about that at graduation.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember that very well.
That Hal Leonard had put that out.
Indeed.
Yeah, the new Master of the Telecaster. I'm going to complete you. Joa is asking, can you talk about the intervals that you're using there. We talked about the thirds that you were doing. Do you do much with sixths and tenths and other types of intervals?
Sixths are often found in the way of the double stop that is not congruent. Would that be the term, or would it be parallel if I'm skipping a string? I guess it'd be...
Oh, just every other string.
Every other string, yeah. You could look at that as a sixth if you simply do, what is it called when you flip the intervals over, your major third.
Just flip, invert those intervals.
Invert those intervals, people. 100 times a day, push-ups, 5 in the morning. So we've all heard the yodel. That's all sixths.
Yep.
All that is simply 3 blind mice. 1, 2, 3. And all we're doing is just adding that sixth beneath it. And finding intervals, finding these scale tones, we're talking about them in reference to scale tones. We're not using specific letters. Scale tones is a much more universal way of talking about music because you can apply numbers to every key, but you can't apply the same letters to every key. So we're just simply doing the sixth here. So if you look at this G sharp, it's B. There we go.
Now, what's a good exercise for someone to practice going through sixths?
Yeah.
Even just up the scale or something like that.
Up the scale is definitely the first one. So if we're going to do it we can stay in the key of A, as that's universally like the most fun way to play guitar. This will be our first one. We're on 5 and 6, and that is E and G string, and I'll use that order moving forward. So we're on 7 and 7, 9 and 9, 10 and 11, 12 and 13, 14 and 14, 16 and 16, 17, 18. I can't stress enough, though, to also learn the natural unveiling of major and minors within the major scale in regards to the chords, because that will make these a lot more simple because you won't have to memorize them. If you look at it in the sense if we flip over these intervals from sixths back to thirds, we can see that this clearly demonstrates a major interval. But if we were to flatten it by 1 half step, we would have a minor. So major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, but a diminished chord has a minor third in it. Duh. And then we're back to our major.
Yep. So if you were playing a lick that incorporated some of that, what would that sound like?
Yeah, I would apply a Ray Flack scuttle to it. You could do something like... To make that more simple and more accessible, you could literally just go...
Now the dead note you're playing, you're muting with palm muting or something down there.
I am.
And then third string with the pick, downstroke with the pick.
Indeed. So it's not quite a palm mute. It's actually a thing that settles easier. I think an explanation would be it's a kill switch via the pick.
Oh yeah.
Right. So. That's your most watered down version. If you add a little spice to it by adding just this in here, it sounds like this. That all of a sudden is really cool. Another thing you can do is a good musical example is the guitar solo to Guitars and Cadillacs, Dwight Yoakam. And that is Pete Anderson playing the guitar on that track. And he uses this technique quite phenomenally. All we're doing here is we're doing bends derived from these major sixth, minor sixth intervals.
Yeah.
That's really beautiful. So you're bending a full step, and then a half step on this one.
Very cool.
Those are two great ones.
Wow, let's give one more thing away, and then our big thing at the end of the show here in a few minutes, because we're pretty much wrapping up, is we're going to give away Keeley Electronics incredible pedals. They have just done a custom pedal
Yeah.
with you, one of their famous compressors, but it's a custom compressor. When did they first come to you about that?
Ooh, Robert Keeley and I have been talking about doing a pedal for some time. And we've been on the phone for hours talking about different ideas. And it seemed like the best idea for a first signature pedal is just to take one that I already use. And that simple. I use compression on everything, except this board. Funny. And this, the Compressor Pro is more of a limiter, which is a little bit different than a compressor. But it really is the best compressor that money can buy in regards to guitar compressor pedals. And this particular one's really phenomenal because we have Telecaster knobs on it, and it's also that signature seafoam green color that I always use with everything.
Love it. So someone is going to win that pedal at the end of the show. So we're very excited about that, about a $300 worth of a custom Keeley compressor. So someone's going to win that. But right now we need to pick a name, and I need a full name there if we can, or something a little bit more. I can't just do one name. We have to do something a little bit more. All right. Yes. João Pacheco, you have just won a Grun's hat. A Grun's hat, João. So send me your information, which I believe you're in Brazil, if I remember right. So, João, you have just won a Grun's hat, and then at the end of the show, we're going to give away that compressor. So
That's awesome.
It's going to be Keeley Electronics really came through on that. So, excited about that. So, one more question, and then we will play something and get out of here.
Cool.
Jerome is saying, are you considering becoming a guitar teacher? You sound like you're a natural at explaining things, which I've seen a lot of your videos that you've started to do with reverb.com. Got some great lessons over there, and some of the other ones that you're doing now.
Thank you very much. I love teaching. I teach all the time, private lessons on Skype, but I love teaching. I always have. Right when I learn something, I find that I learn it better if I go and show it to somebody. And that's been the same since I started on the instrument, and 11 years later, it's still the same. So that tells me that I should not stop doing it.
Yeah.
I love teaching.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So if folks do want to take a Skype lesson from you, they can get in contact with you at danieldonato.com?
Yeah, or Instagram, or you can find anyone these days.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, let's see. I like this question, so let me get to Lee. Lee, what kind of strategies or tactics do you employ to make sure your solos are connected and fluid?
Oh, that's a great question.
Great question.
Yeah.
That your solos are connecting as you're going through all these different patterns and chords and whatnot.
Right, absolutely. I love questions that involve both small and large micro and macro. It's best answered quickly through the macro sense of visualization. I can see at any given moment where all of my minor pentatonic scales are, where all of my major pentatonic scales are, and where all of my caged chords are, which you referenced a second ago, Steve. You walked us through the inversions of what an A chord looks like on these three strings. I can see all those, and I also see them on all the other strings. And then inversions amongst those as well.
Which is so much a part of your playing.
So much.
Is using all of those really triads and inversions as you're jumping around on the neck.
Indeed.
Wow. Yeah.
If you combine that with a very in-depth knowledge of both the major and minor pentatonic scale, with the spice of chromaticism, that pretty much is the ingredient to what is my guitar playing.
Yeah.
It's very humbling because I had to come to terms with just how simple it is, theoretically, not too long ago. Within this past year, I realized everything I'm playing isn't that fancy.
Yeah.
It's just that personal to me.
Yeah.
Which I guess gives it the sound.
And what you bring to it, emotion-wise, as the player, is so much a part of it. You can hear Stevie Ray Vaughan play three notes, and immediately that's Stevie Ray Vaughan. And
my God!
Not brilliance in the if you tabbed it out or whatever.
Yes.
It's the attitude, it's the emotion that is part of the playing.
That can't be more true. Someone told me this, to never say no to yourself when you're practicing, which I used to get so mad at the guitar. I would take the guitar off, I'd throw it on the ground, I would hit the guitar out of frustration. I would just stomp on pedals just because I was angry because I couldn't get things right. And I realized that there's no getting things right. There's only just getting things to your taste.
Yeah.
So when you are practicing, keep that in mind, that you're not doing things wrong. You're just not doing things that are yet to your taste. That's a big thing, and that'll help you have a lot of optimism and creativity in what you learn and how you learn it and how you make it your own.
What has helped you personally find your voice? Not Johnny Hyland's voice in playing, not other players' voice, but find something, even though you're drawing from all these resources, but to find something, find your own voice.
Right.
What has helped you on your journey doing that?
The first thing is my limitations.
Mm-hmm.
And the second thing is my strengths.
Mm-hmm.
And being all right with both of those. And then just working as hard as I can within that realm. We were just upstairs on the marvelous second floor with all the luxury instruments. And you were playing, what's your name one more time? Landon. Landon had asked me, you're a guitar student, had asked me if I play jazz. And I don't really play jazz all that well. And that's a big weakness of mine, quote unquote. But I love other genres, and I love other things that are similar to jazz, such as Bob Wills style guitar playing.
Oh.
Something like that, you know? Things like that, I can take into my own realm of consciousness and what inspires me, and I can, through hours and hours of hard work, both at home and then trying it out in a live environment, that's how I've been able to kind of craft my own approach to the instrument.
Yeah.
And it's not stopping anytime soon.
Yeah, that's great. Don't let it stop.
Thank you.
We need more of that creativity. We need more people expressing their own voice, finding their own voice in the instrument.
Absolutely.
Okay, it's time for us to land this ship. We need to get out of here and let you go off to your recording session.
Thank you.
Okay, so, hey, let's give away a compressor. I don't have it here with me. They are going to mail it to you. So I need a name, and I need a good one. I need a good name. That's a good one. All right, the winner of the Keeley compressor, the Daniel Donato Custom Shop Keeley compressor, $300 worth of a compressor, is Stephen McCrory. Stephen McCrory, congratulations on one heck of a pedal that you just got. It's going to come right directly from Keeley Electronics. So send me your information, Stephen, at service at mightyoakmusic.com. Everybody who won tonight, Zhao, and then whoever else won earlier tonight. Send me your information at service at mightyoakmusic.com. Mailing address, phone number, what you won, that's always helpful. Screen name, things like that. It has been a great night. We're going to play one more thing before we get out of here. We're not going to, there's going to be no live lesson next week, but the week after that, we're going to be talking with fantastic singer-songwriter guy here in Nashville, Rob Harris, who I have gotten a chance to meet, and he does it as well as I've ever seen anybody do it. The solo guitar, singer-songwriter approach to music. So Rob's going to be with us in 2 weeks, so we're excited about having Rob here with us. If you're interested in some of our events or our videos that we put out, then please check out guitargathering.com and please subscribe to us on YouTube. We are over 12,000, almost 13,000 subscribers now, well over 2 million views on our videos. So please subscribe to us there, and we'll be putting new stuff up all of the time. Thank you, Daniel, for being here with us. Let's play one little thing. We were messing around on a little kind of an slow E blues when we got going here. So let's kind of, maybe we can end it with that.
That's great.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Daniel,
much
for being here. Hey, keep up the great work in your own playing, and we will see you guys next time.